The only Australian driver on the grid at present, Daniel Ricciardo, has been making waves in the F1 scene since he made his entry in the sport back in 2011. Having raced for teams such as HRT, Toro Rosso, Red Bull, Renault and McLaren, Ricciardo has displayed his talents in a Formula 1 car on multiple occasions by securing 8 Grand Prix wins. His best performances have come while he was at Red Bull, which is why his move to Renault was all the more surprising to plenty of people. Although he hasn't been able to replicate the same success, Ricciardo has slowly returned back to form, winning his first race after a gap of 3 years in 2021. So with that in mind, let's have a look at why Daniel Ricciardo left Red Bull and what kind of a relationship does he share with Max Verstappen. The Italian-Australian driver started off his career by participating in the Formula Ford, Formula BMW and the Formula Renault 2.0 series, the last of which he won in 2008. He then moved on to competing in the British Formula 3 series with Carlin Motorsport, which he won in his first year itself. From there, he took part in the Formula Renault 3.5 series and also got his first chance to test Red Bull's F1 car that year. The following year, Ricciardo would place second in the Renault 3.5 series and be assigned as a Test Plus reserve driver for the Red Bull sister team, Toro Rosso. The Honey Badger, as he's more fondly known, got his big break of racing in Formula 1 when an opportunity presented itself after the demotion of HRT driver Narain Karthikeyan. Making his debut at Silverstone, Ricciardo will remain with HRT for the remainder of the season. Given his impressive performance in a largely underwhelming car, Red Bull saw the potential in Ricciardo and gave him a shot as a full-time driver at Toro Rosso alongside Frenchman Jean-Éric Vergne. While he didn't do too well in his first season at Toro Rosso, the Australian driver showed some remarkable improvement in the subsequent season, having outqualified his teammate numerous times. Following the departure of Mark Webber from Formula 1, Ricciardo would take over his fellow Australian seat at Red Bull to partner the reigning world champion Sebastian Vettel. Once again, Daniel Ricciardo proved what an excellent driver he was by beating his highly successful teammate on multiple occasions, and even claiming his maiden Formula 1 race win at the 2014 Canadian Grand Prix. He would finish third in that year's championship, earning praise from former champions Alonso and Hamilton, who described him as one of the best drivers on the grid and the nicest guy in the paddock. For the 2015 season, Ricciardo would be paired with Danny Kvyat, and he would end the season at 8th position on the leaderboard. Come 2016, Kvyat would be replaced with a young and up-and-coming Max Verstappen, who had already gained plenty of acclaim by the time he made his move to Red Bull. Speaking about his new teammate at the time, Ricciardo said, "I knew how hyped Max was, but I'd never seen his data and didn't really know what he was bringing to the table. I thought I was already driving at my limit, but there was something a little bit more, and I feel we've both given each other that. I knew he wasn't afraid to give it a go, and I saw already from first practice in Barcelona he was on the limit of the car. Max has lifted his game even more, and I have, so it's cool to know we've got a little bit more in the tank." Team boss Christian Horner also spoke about the dynamic between the two Red Bull drivers, revealing, "We don't ask our drivers to go out to dinner with each other, but ask that they respect each other and respect the team. The two have done exactly that, and the fact that their relationship goes beyond that is only a benefit to us. Daniel in many ways has almost been like an older brother to Max. Their feedback is very similar, the demands from the car are very similar. It's a great scenario to have both drivers chasing the same thing." While the biggest team rivalry that season was between Lewis Hamilton and eventual champion Nico Rosberg, the growing conflict between Ricciardo and Verstappen started to become quite evident. Ricciardo was quick to dispel any such rumours, stating, "It's hard to predict what is going to happen in the long run. I can speak for the first few races, our relationship has been good. We've thrived off the new challenge, the new rivalry, so hopefully can keep pushing the team in the right direction. Hopefully that rivalry will mean we're fighting for victories more often. For sure we can have a healthy rivalry. If you're mature about it and admit if one guy is better on one day and be open about it, then you always have good respect." Although 2017 was relatively low-key for Red Bull, as Ricciardo and Verstappen finished 5th and 6th in the Drivers' Championship, the cracks in the bond between the two only grew deeper, especially since both started to face the pressures of bringing in as many wins as possible. However, things would only seem to get worse for the two drivers and for the Red Bull team at the Azerbaijan GP in 2018. Fighting for the 4th position in Baku, Verstappen was ahead of his teammate going into lap 40 as a result of an overcut strategy. Ricciardo, on the other hand, was soon catching up with Max and attempted to make a move on the Dutch lad. A late defense from Verstappen in turn forced Ricciardo to hit the brakes and plow right into his teammate, putting both cars out of action for the rest of the race. The team at Red Bull were extremely disappointed by the outcome, as team principal Christian Horner was said to have made both drivers apologise to the entire team for the incident. The crash at Baku further soured the relationship between the two drivers, and soon rumours of either driver or even both leaving the team started to make the rounds. Verstappen, being the younger of the two and having already established himself as a potential championship winner, received significantly more backing and support from his seniors at Red Bull. Meanwhile, Ricciardo began a search for a seat elsewhere, eventually settling for engine manufacturer Renault from the 2019 season onwards. Moving over to Renault, Daniel Ricciardo looks set to finally cement his legacy as a world champion with his new team. Talking about his transfer to the French team, Ricciardo mentioned, "Hand on heart, it does feel right. Making the decision was stressful, but once I made the call I was like instantly de-stressed, and that hasn't changed. The dream was getting this team back to winning." Max too reacted to his ex-teammate's move, saying, "Of course everybody has moments in their career where you're frustrated or you're not happy with the current situation. I think everybody here wants to win races or wants to win championships, but sometimes it's not like that and you have to really be patient and work hard for it." Despite putting in all the hard work and efforts, Ricciardo however would struggle in the Renault car, which failed to deliver any real pace compared to the Ferraris and Mercedes. The Australian driver doesn't regret his decision to switch teams, given that his future at Red Bull wouldn't be too long-lived, as has been the case with plenty of other drivers who have raced for the team. After spending 2 difficult years at Renault, Ricciardo once again sought to make his fortune elsewhere, with his sights set on McLaren this time around. The Red Bull protege faced similar struggles at the British team, but slowly got to grips with the car. He would finally earn his redemption at Monza by finishing first in the 2021 Italian GP. In the meanwhile, Max has also made huge progress in his F1 campaign, competing against Hamilton for the 2021 F1 title. Chatting about Verstappen's growth and the relationship that the two now have, Ricciardo shared, "He might not be the most approachable or funniest or whatever, but he's Max. I've known him for quite a long time as well, and I've also seen him, let's say, mature and kind of grow. We definitely had respect for each other, but I would say today we get on better than we did back then." Max discussed his own growth in comparison to Daniel, mentioning, "I think I also got better eventually because I have more and more experience. At the time, Daniel is, he's still quite a bit older and more experienced, but I think I gained a lot of experience in the last few years. While in the beginning, of course, I was still quite new and I really didn't have a lot of car racing experience." Although Ricciardo has been nowhere near Max this season, the recent uptick in his form is a good indicator of how the McLaren driver has settled into the new car. While both drivers have had vastly different trajectories in terms of their career, the new regulations that are set to kick in from 2022 might just put all the drivers at an equal footing. A plus for eager fans of both Verstappen and Ricciardo, who would love to see the two compete with each other once again. So what do you think about Daniel Ricciardo and his relationship with Max Verstappen? Has he been Max's best teammate so far? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like this video then hit the thumbs up and subscribe to Pit Stop.